Hello once again, everybody. What we're going to do today is I had promised to make a video on how to show how to make the Angry Birds. So that's what I'm going to do today. We're going to need some red yarn, some white yarn, and some sort of a nose, which we'll use a prepaid pom-pom for that. We'll cut the eyes out of construction paper, and then I like to use little feathers. Some people leave a little extra trim on the top to be able to, a little extra fuzz on the top, and trim around that so that we have that feather look. But I like to use an actual feather. I think they look better that way. All right, let's get started. So for this, I'm going to use the next to the largest size of pom-pom maker that I have, and the kits that I have, it's pink, so I'm going to use the pink one. And you've already seen the pom-pom, so we're going to skip ahead, and you don't have to watch me do that. Okay, so I got the red side done. As you can see, I got it filled. It's wrapped nice and tight, and it's right straight across. So I'm going to go ahead and close that and snip that off. Now for the next section, what I'm going to do is I'm going to actually start with the white yarn, and I'm going to wrap that in the middle. And I'm just going to wrap a section in the middle that's about that and leave the ends open so that I have that nice little strip down the middle. It works very well to do that. So I'm just going to fill up the middle and leave the ends open for now. Alright, so as you can see, I've got that wrapped pretty full of just the white yarn. I left the ends open, so I'm going to wrap some red yarn and I'm going to finish it off. Now I'm pretty good on the ends, so what I'm going to do is just wrap a little bit more white in the middle. I'm going to go ahead and cut that red off so I don't have to deal with that. I can get rid of that red ball, that red skein. Alright, so that's really good. I've got it pretty much full. I've got a white section, I've got the two red ends, so I should have just a nice stripe down the middle of that side of that pom-pom. So I'm going to cut that off. Grab my trusty knife and start cutting this, and we'll see how it ends up looking. Kids are really into Pokemon, and this is the same technique that we use to make the Pokemon ball sometimes. Okay, what I need to mention now is that when you're using two different colors, you can actually use either color to tie it off. I like to use a little bit heavier yarn, so I'm going to use the red in this case because it's a heavier yarn. So I'm going to pull my section out of that, cut me off a piece of that, and then I start and insert it into the pom-pom maker on the red side. And I'll show you why. That'll become evident as what it will become evident why as we progress through this. So we're going to pull it around. We're going to tie it off, just an overhand knot. And we're going to put it back through. And when you put it back through to loop it again, you're ending up with the red on the red side, which is what we want to do. That way you're not going to have red or white spots on it. If you do get the lines crossed and then white spots, you can just trim them off shorter and they'll never show. And then to finish it off, I'm going to just do a quick overhand knot. And I got a piece of yarn that's not cooperating there, so just cut that. Alright, so it's time to open it up and let's see what this thing looks like. So we got a nice full pom-pom. At the moment he's kind of egg-shaped, but you see how I've got the red on the one side and then I've got the red and the white stripe down the middle, and that's going to make a perfect angry bird. So the next thing we're going to do is just go ahead and cut that, trim that up so you don't have to watch me do that. I'll just work on that for a while. The eyes and the eyebrows. I found some white crafting foam that I'm going to use, and I also found a sheet of black felt that I'm going to use for the eyebrows. I think that'll work nicely. On the one that I already made, I just used, this is craft foam, and then this is actually just construction paper, which works fine. It's really turned out nicely, but I'm going to try it with the felt this time. So we can start putting this together. Again, when I glue pom-poms together, I make a little swirly in the middle with my finger or with a pen or a pencil or whatever I have handy. Just make a little slot, put a little bit of white glue in, and I already need to have a stick. Need to put a new stick of hot glue in the gun. Just put a little bit of hot glue in there. Put the little pom-pom in it, and there's his nose. So for his eyes, just going to put some hot glue where his eyes would be. Pick them right up off the table the way that I've got them. Put a little bit of hot glue in the center. I'm going to put just across the top of his eyes and a little bit down the side. And then I can just kind of work the eyebrows into where I want them. And the characteristic about the angry bird eyes is that they raise a little bit. They come to a peak, a low peak in the middle. I'm finding that I don't like the felt as much as I like the construction paper for this particular thing. But it still looks pretty good. And I'll just use the scissor handles to tape them all together. And there's his nose. There's his angry bird face. Now we just need the feather on the back and we'll be done. Okay, I've retrieved a red feather. That should work nicely, and we're just going to insert that into the pom-pom on the back. A little bead of hot glue. And there's his angry bird. I'm going to trim his forehead up there a little bit. He's got a little bit of a high spot. There we go. Alright, and there we have our angry bird.